Welcome back to the Recovery Wizard. This is a place for anybody on a self-improvement journey to come for valuable tools, information, and inspiration directly from one person on the recovery journey to the next. So in the last video that was created, we went into what had gone wrong in the four different aspects, right? So we're dealing with these four different aspects. They are a system. They work together. When one aspect is not being corrected, it holds all of the other aspects back, which is why we're not experiencing largely that internal peace and freedom and ease and joy and comfort and fulfillment and meaning and so on and so forth. This is really, really, really important for anybody that is on this journey and is looking to, truly cease this cycle of suffering and is desiring internal freedom. Then this is really, really valuable information. This has taken me 17 plus years to learn in my own journey, and I learned the hard way, and so now I'm very passionate about helping others to speed their process up. That's the purpose of the Recovery Wizard. Speeding it up, but not shortcutting or losing the quality. Okay, we're talking about sustainable change. Last video we went over what had gone wrong in the four aspects. So as a review, we have the spiritual aspect, the mental aspect, the emotional aspect, and the physical aspect. Okay, we got to know what's going wrong, and then we got to create a strategy that's going to be unique to each and every one of us, because we're all unique individual expressions. We've had unique life experiences, right? So not one size fits all here, but a lot of it is universal. So that's important also to know, and that's a key. But this spiritual aspect has become overrun by these fear-based beliefs and this disconnection. Okay, so these are the two main issues here. One can look at it that, they've become this way as a result of the issues, of the mental health issues and the addictions, or that they were there first. In reality, they created the issues, but we're working backwards, and the issue, all that we need to know is that this is what's happening. Okay, there's this in the spiritual aspect, there's these fear-based beliefs and this disconnection. Okay, so now let's move into the mental aspect. So the fear-based beliefs lead to what's going wrong in the mental aspect, which is basically this illusion. There's illusion or delusion taking place. We're not seeing things clearly because everything is being seen, right, mentally viewed through these fear-based beliefs. Okay, so there's illusion. Now the disconnection portion is going to lead, primarily we talked about disconnection with self. Okay, I mean, when we're talking about disconnection with self, I mean, we're literally talking about disconnection from source, from creation, from life force, from God, from a higher power, whatever we want to call it. But I like to just use self because no one gets all triggered by that. It's just you. But anyways, this disconnection is going to lead to insecurity in the mental aspect. Okay, we're not going to have a secure connection, right? And we talked about this, and this is where the avoidant, the anxious avoidant, these attachment styles, we have these insecure connection. It's insecure. There's an insecurity in the mental aspect that leads to all these different mental health implications. Okay, so let's follow it through. So we have the fear-based beliefs leading to the illusion. The illusion, seeing things through this distortion, this illusion, this delusion, is going to lead us to being inauthentic. Okay, we're going to show up inauthentically. We're not going to be showing up in the truth of who we actually are because we're dealing with all of this distortion. We can't. We didn't do anything wrong. It's just how it is. It's obvious. Like, we can't show up and be our authentic self. So there's this inauthenticity in the emotional body. Okay, or the emotional aspect. Okay. Now, on the other side, if you look it through, right, follow it through, we have the disconnection leading to the insecurity, which is going to then cause us to have suppression. So we're going to be suppressing our true feelings. We're not going to be able to even recognize our feelings most of the time. We're going to only want to be feeling positive stuff because we're going to be highly, highly traumatized from anything negative. So we're going to be literally like so hyper vigilant at protecting ourselves from any negative emotion, right? We're just, the nervous system is completely dysregulated, okay? And this shows up in the emotional body. So, or aspect. I use those words interchangeably, so just to know that. Anyways, and then we follow on into the physical aspect. Okay, so fear-based beliefs leading to the illusion, delusion, distortion, whatever word you like, and then leading to the inauthenticity. So all of this creates so much suffering and pain that we are literally craving relief. There's a deep, deep craving. A lot of it's happening unconsciously, but it shows up every single day in our lives, but we're craving relief. We want to have flow. We want to have freedom. We deserve to have those things. And we don't have a framework for it because of everything I've just talked about, craving relief. So that's what's happening in the physical, okay? Now, if we're following it through on the other side, right, we had the disconnection leading to the insecurity, leading to the suppression. All of that suppressing, that pushing down, that tamping down, that leads us to these very destructive habits, okay? And that can go off in a million different directions. Some of us have very deep addiction issues. Some of us have other things that we're dealing with, but we have these destructive lifestyle habits, okay? That's what's going wrong in all of these different aspects. And in order to correct this system, we have to be aware of what is taking place in each aspect and then having a sufficient strategy to correct each one. So today I want to talk a little bit about the strategies. So let's just talk about briefly, okay? This is an evolving treatment plan and everybody is different. And so when I work with individuals one-on-one, this is not an overnight process. Their treatment plan is always evolving, but we are working towards creating a sufficient strategy, okay, from day one. And then we're always fine-tuning it, and as we evolve, so does the evolving treatment plan. But to correct what's going wrong in the spiritual body, there's a few musts, okay? And the first is developing what we like to call true north principles. This is going to be our new ideals, okay? What are we going to align our thoughts and our actions with? Okay, so we come up with these true north principles. This is not an overnight process, okay? This is literally like a life ongoing situation, okay? And it's just an ideal, progress, not perfection. But we got to start aligning our thoughts and actions with a higher frequency, okay? So the easiest way to do this is to ask oneself, what kind of a relationship do I want with myself? Do I want one rooted in love or fear? I would hope love, you know. Do I want one rooted in support or degradation? Support. Do I want one that's kind or mean? Kind. Do I want one that's honest or dishonest? Honest. Okay. So we develop these principles, and that's going to be what we're aligning our thoughts with. This is where higher power or that concept comes in super clutch. Okay, because that will allow for us to begin to displace this a little bit and to kind of get out of all of this fear and have some sort of trust in something, okay? But it's not necessary, it's not required, but it absolutely is like a gold star on the recovery process that's going to only help speed it all up. But we don't have to do that. We can create these principles. Good, orderly direction, that's another acronym for God. Now, the next thing is going to be mindfulness, becoming aware, becoming more self-aware. So developing daily a morning routine, a night routine, meditation, mindfulness activities, grounding activities, journaling. Oh my God, journaling is like the number one thing. Even if, in the beginning it's just like, I'm literally just like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. But putting our thoughts down on paper, super, super valuable, right? Because what we have to slow this all down. We have to get more in touch with what's happening here, right? We're on an autopilot, and that is literally creating our reality. And so since we're on autopilot, we got to slow it down. This mindfulness stuff is going to be our daily tools to do that. Now, the next thing is developing a service-based mindset, okay? Getting out of self and looking at what one can actively contribute. So this is all a part of the spiritual aspect, correcting what's gone wrong in there, okay, and understanding it, becoming fluent in what these things are, and working to create a sufficient strategy. In the mental aspect, we're looking at having a recovery guide, somebody who's done this work and can help really and truly see the individual where they're at and hold compassion and hold a container for them, but guide them through the necessary work, the necessary shadow work, okay? The logical part of it. They're really responsible for the logical part, and then probably having a therapist to work through the emotional stuff. That's going to be huge. Medication management, that might be a part of this aspect for somebody. But shadow work, cannot get away from that one. Okay, you just can't. And we can go in a whole video on why that is, but that's a part of building the sufficient strategy for the mental aspect. And then on the bottom, I always have a self-improvement type of material that one's reading, okay? Because all of this knowledge is gonna be applicable at a certain point. The emotional body, this is where so many of us fail, including myself, because there's so much fear here. And the feeling aspect is what we're trying to hold back. We don't want to feel. We don't want to feel negative emotions. We don't want to feel fear. We don't want to feel abandonment. We don't want to feel pain. We don't want to feel rejection. We don't want to feel these nasty things. They hurt. We've been traumatized. But the only way out is through new experiences. If we don't have new experiences, the emotional body is going to stay the same. So what do we got to do? Number one, we got to have a recovery community. Hands down, we have to be building relationships with other people in our recovery. Okay, whatever that looks like for you. There has to be a recovery community. For some people, church is this thing. But are these individuals recovering? Are they speaking the language of recovery? Recovery community in and of itself is usually a very necessary part of the emotional strategy, the emotional aspect to correct it, to begin to correct this inauthenticity and suppression. Okay, and then most importantly is engagement with that community, going out and doing things in real life. Literally, that can be the hardest thing for people because we got so many fears and so many blockages preventing us, but that's not real. That's why we have to have these new experiences with safe people, right? So that we can learn a new way. We got into it experientially, we got to get out of it experientially, and it's through these new relationships. I'm forgetting something. So there's community engagement, building a recovery community. Oh, our lifelines, okay? We got to be developing the lifelines. These are the people that we are going to reach out to when shit hits the fan, because it will. There will be a moment where we're overrun and everything is shit, and it just only makes sense for us to just abandon the whole entire plan. It's all bullshit. In those moments, we have to have lifelines, people to reach out to. Hey, what the hell's going on here? And that's also in and of itself working through the encounter action, opposite action to that inauthenticity and suppression. Now, in the physical aspect, we're looking at our environment, right? Correcting our environment, cleaning up our environment. That might be getting out of a relationship. That might be changing friendships, cleaning up our house, moving out of a place that's unhealthy for us. That's part of it. Okay, and then we're going to be looking at nutrition, an exercise plan, a diet plan. This is all a part of it, right? This is not overnight. That's what I'm saying. This is evolving. But these are the aspects that we got to be looking at to correct what's going wrong, and then we work them together over time. Okay, and then beyond that, there's going to be your abstinent behaviors. Okay, this is really big for people dealing with, compulsion and addiction, things that we're no longer engaging in. We've realized that we can't do those things, and it might be it's whatever it is to whoever, and these things may change. They will change over time. Sometimes it starts out with one, and then, slowly but surely we're taking this one off and we're taking this one off. The main reason for that is so that we are allowing ourselves the time to go within, to not distract, so we can be dealing with what is going on underneath, causing us to have to do that in the first place, right? These negative habits. Looking at all of these fear-based beliefs, looking at what's going wrong on the mental aspect, this illusion that we talk about, in this insecurity, looking at the emotional hypervigilance and how we've been holding ourselves back and being inauthentic and walking through those fears. We can't be doing that while we're engaging in all the distraction stuff completely. That can be a little bit of a harm reduction situation. That's what I do with my clients, but it is necessary. So that's where the gray area behaviors come in, right? These are things that may be a problem, but I'm not ready to stop them yet. So this was like a little insight. I'm sorry, I was talking a little bit fast because I'm currently sharing an office a few days a week with somebody, and they stepped out, and I was like, I want to get this video in before they come back. And you see me talking about this heavy ass shit with a big ass smile on my face because I am free of this at this point, and it is the best feeling on the face of this mother effing planet to not be dealing with this crap. Not that I'm not still growing, because I am still growing and I am working through fears, but largely this stuff has been healed, and it's the best feeling I could ever describe. Seriously. Now, so we've talked a little bit about building these strategies to correct each individual aspect. We work these together over time. We evolve them, right? As we are doing this, what is going to happen is we are going to up level in our belief system. Hands down. We will start to uproot the limiting negative beliefs, and we begin to have new beliefs because we are proving the old ones invalid. And when the old beliefs are proved invalid, we're not going to act on them anymore. We won't act on them anymore. They won't be a part of our experience. I love you guys. Till next time. Bye-bye.